So many a times when you'll be going to shore, people might ask you after you take shore leave and you come on board. Some of your seniors or some of the senior seamen might ask you have you taken sounding? So today we'll be talking about how sounding is taken, what exactly is sounding, but not that sounding. Okay. So if you have not seen my videos, my name is Heston Darius and you're at Basic Marine Engineering. I make videos on marine engineering about the basics, about some stuff. Whatever your questions are there, I do answer them. Sometimes I make videos on those. So if you have any questions, don't forget to write it down. You can go and watch my other videos also. So coming back, what is sounding? Basically, now what happens on ship, we have different kinds of tanks to store any kind of fuel oil which is used for burning, like how we have cars. For our cars we use petrol or diesel oil. Same way for to run the ship we require fuel oil. It can be either heavy fuel oil or it can be diesel oil, and for those we have a lot of tanks. Then we also have fresh water, drinking water, to have bath, all those kind of things for which also we have tanks. Then we have lube oil. Since marine engines are very big engines, we require a lot of quantity of oil. So, and for different purposes like gear oil and all the other things, also we have small tanks and bigger size tanks. Then for whatever sludge which is produced, whatever fuel oil, dirty oil which is there inside the fuel, or dirty sludge which is there, that is been cleaned out. To store that also we have something called as sludge tanks, different kinds of sludge tanks. So for those also we have tanks. Then we also have bilge water, something called any dirty water you can say. So that water which we cannot throw out, for to store that water and to process that water also we have some kind of bilge tanks. So for all this kind of tanks and all the other tanks which I have not mentioned, we need to know how much quantity of that oil or water is there inside the tank. So for that reason we do sounding. Now sounding is basically, suppose you have a big tank. Suppose you have a big tank, first of all you'll be knowing the height of the tank. So when the ship is designed, what the designers will do, depending upon the height of the tank, suppose at this level, suppose the tank height is, let's say, 5 meters. So at 1 meter, let's say, they know that if there is 1 meter of water inside the tank or 1 meter of medium inside the tank, so what will happen is they will calculate and make something called a sounding table. So like that, for each and every level, they know how much that level corresponds in quantity. Like suppose, let's say at 1 meter you have in a particular tank, it could be 10 tons maybe, or 10 cubic meters we should say, not tons, 10 cubic meters. So depending upon the tank, you will have its corresponding sounding, and that will be mentioned in your sounding table. And inside your sounding table you have these different tank names, and different tank names, on one side you will be having the different length, the length of water or medium which you find inside the tank and how much it corresponds to. So sounding table will tell you if 1 meter of water is there inside the tank, it corresponds to 1 meter cube, or it corresponds to 2 meter cube. If 2 meters is there, it might be corresponding to 3 meter cube. 4 meter sounding you get, then it will be called as, it might be written as 4 meter cube. So that is the sounding which we are talking about. Sounding is basically, we use a sounding tape, basically a tape with a bob down. We put it inside the tank through something called a sounding pipe, and only at that point you can put the tape, so that, because what happens is at that level only the designers have calculated how much it will correspond to volume. So what you will have to do, you will have to put the sounding tape through the sounding pipe, and at that level you will be able to come to know how much is the sounding. So whatever sounding is there will also be dependent on the ship, whether the ship is having a trim, it's trimmed by down, bow, or aft. So depending upon that you have corrections also inside the sounding table. Also if you have list, if the ship is bent towards the port side, if it is bent towards the starboard side, so depending upon that you will be having corrections also. So that is basically a sounding. So as you can see here in this video, he is taking the sounding, and this is how you roll the tape. You take it down and then you unwind the tape. You first of all you leave the tape till it reaches the bottom. Once it touches the doubler plate which is there down, it will make a sound and you will get a feeling that it touched. So then that's how you come to know that you have reached the maximum height, and then you have to wind up the tape. Once you wind up the tape, you have to keep looking at the tape, and then when you see the level, you know this much meter cube, this much meters, or this much level of water or oil, whatever is there inside the tank. You can also take something called as ullage. Now sounding is the length from down to the level of water which is there. Suppose your height is 10 meters and the level of water which is there is 4 meters. So whatever 10 minus 4, whatever is left, that will be called as your ullage. So you can take ullage also. Ullage is basically taken for sludge, for heavy oil, because what happens, the sludge and heavy oil, with cold temperatures, they are very thick, and because of that the tape will not go inside properly, and there is a high probability you will get wrong reading. So for that reason we have this called as ullage. So what you can do, if you know how much level, if you have some idea how much level is there, you put the tape. Suppose around 4 meter of oil is there, and the tank level is 10 meter. So what you can do, you can put around 6.2. So whatever level you get, whatever this, after subtraction, whatever you have put the tape, let's say you have put 6.2, and let's say you got 20 centimeters on that, so we'll minus 20 centimeters from 6.2. So 6 will be your ullage. Understood? So that also is there in your sounding tables. So on one side you'll have sounding, on the other side you'll have ullage. So you check with your ullage what value of ullage you have got and match it with your trim, and inside your trim then you'll find the volume which is there. So this is how you take sounding on ship, and this is how ullage is also taken. And why they are important? Because you have to know how much level of oil or how much level of water or whatever is there inside a tank, you should be knowing how much is there, so that you can do the rest of the calculation. You can know you can calculate your trim, to do some corrections of trim, to do some corrections of least also it helps you, and it also tells you how much is available with you and how long it will last. So that will help you in knowing how much is there. Okay.